two teenage girls vanished between the evening of December 9th and the early hours of the morning on December 10th, 1999, from a house in Welch, Oklahoma. The girls were Lauria Jaylene Bible, born on April 13th, 1983, and Ashley Renee Freeman, born on December 9th, 1983, which was Ashley's birthday. Lauria came over in the evening to celebrate with her. Firefighters arrived at the Freeman home at 5:30 a.m. when a passerby reported a fire on December 30th. After extinguishing the fire, the bodies of Danny Freeman and his wife were found, revealing they had been shot at close range. Police found no trace of the girls, Lauria and Ashley. Who killed the couple? Where did the girls go? How did the fire start? And is there still hope of finding the girls alive? Welcome to another mysterious story. More than 20 years have passed since the disappearance of the two girls, yet Lauria's family still awaits their safe return. It's the hope without which their minds would have gone astray. Rosa Rodriguez, Lauria's cousin, saw her in a dream on her wedding day, walking down the aisle with her father. When the veil was lifted off her face, she appeared expressionless. Soon after, a fire broke out at the Freeman house, and upon extinguishing it, it was revealed that the fire was to cover up the murder of Danny Freeman and his wife, Kathy, and the abduction of the girls. Everyone claimed there were no suspects, but Lauria's family felt there was one being overlooked, someone within Sheriff Gregg's office. As rumors of the girls' abduction escalated, another rumor emerged, implicating the involvement of local underworld gangs and Mexican drug producers who had been left to their devices by everyone else. The Lauria family took it upon themselves to find the girls and bring the culprits to justice. Let's go back a bit to learn about the friendship that brought Lauria and Ashley together. The girls met when they were in kindergarten, and their friendship began at this young age and extended for years until they reached the age of 16. They built a very strong bond together and were closer than twins, as each complimented the other and knew what she loved and what she hated. Lauria was the cheerleader captain for the basketball team Ashley played on. On December 9th, Ashley invited her friend Lauria to stay over at her house and celebrate her birthday. Lauria asked her father for permission, and he had no objection, knowing about the friendship between his daughter and Ashley. All he asked was for her to return home by noon the next day. Before leaving, she said to him, "I love you, Dad." The girls spent a wonderful evening eating pizza, ice cream, and watching a movie. Everything seemed perfect at first, but a mysterious figure was watching the house from outside. The next morning, the police received a call from neighbors reporting that the Freeman house was on fire. A police car arrived at Lauria's father's workplace, and the officer asked him if he knew the Freemans. He replied, saying, "Yes, they are my daughter's close friends." In fact, his daughter had spent the previous night at their house. The police officer informed him that the Freeman's house had been completely destroyed. Worried, the parents rushed to the Freeman house, the crime scene. The mother said, "We just wanted to know where the girls were. We didn't care who did it or why." The forensic team worked on identifying the body of Mrs. Freeman, found amidst the burnt debris of the house. She was wearing a ring on his left hand. The body was that of a female who had previously given birth, but where were the parents and the girls in the meantime? Meanwhile, Lauria's father examined the area around the house on horseback and found empty rifle cartridges near the house. The Oklahoma State Investigation Bureau took over the case. At the end of the day, the head investigator approached Lauria's father, saying they had gathered all available evidence at the crime scene. At 5 p.m., the investigators left the scene for the families living nearby. The Lauria family returned home at 1 in the morning. Lauria's empty room faced her parents' room, where Capo's pain gripped them both, not knowing where their daughter was. Were she hungry, cold, or subjected to torture? Questions relentlessly haunted them as time passed slowly and painfully. At dawn, the parents were once again at the crime scene, searching for clues. The mother believed the police had missed something due to the few hours spent between rescues, some of which were still smoldering. The mother's intuition was true. They found something on the ground, a body. Yes, it was a corpse, not fully visible amidst the debris. Astonishingly, whose body was this? It belonged to a man, but his face was entirely burnt, a faceless corpse. The mother promptly called the police to report a burnt body still at the crime scene. It turned out to be the body of Danny Freeman, Ash's father and the homeowner. Have these experts really missed finding a complete body among the rubble? The rumor didn't prompt the police to act swiftly. Even the search among the debris and its timing weren't taken seriously enough given the gravity of the crime until the investigators returned to the crime scene. The locals found more evidence. They discovered Lauria's bag, her wallet, and an insurance card for a car registered to a stranger. When these pieces of evidence were presented to the chief investigator, he completely dismissed them, saying, "What makes you think this insurance card has anything to do with the investigation?" and walked away immediately. In fact, the discovery of the body greatly disturbed investigator Nader, who was convinced that Freeman murdered his wife and abducted the girls. Freeman had a non-biological brother, Dwayne, who had another theory based on Freeman's own words to him 2 weeks before the incident, saying, "I'm telling you, if I'm killed, blame the sheriff's office." Dwayne continued to explain that a year ago, Freeman's son, Shane, was killed by a sheriff's deputy during a confrontation, sparking animosity between the Freemans and the sheriff's office. The lead investigator was skeptical but agreed to investigate the sheriff and his deputies. They were interrogated using a lie detector, and they passed, confirming their non-involvement in the crime. These developments had a significant impact on the case, as Freeman's body was found and sheriff's office men were acquitted. None of investigator Nader's theories proved valid. Nader directed his attention to the closest theories, expecting the girls. The authorities said the girls were the ones who killed the couple, burned the house, and fled. However, this theory did not convince Lauria's family or any of the townspeople who knew the girls. The girls were missing from everyone's perspective, not fugitive killers, as Lauria's family insisted, posting pictures of the girls everywhere along thousands of miles. A whole year passed without any new developments. As New Year's approached and Lauria was absent, it was truly difficult for her family. Lauria loved New Year's and was the one who decorated the tree for the holiday. The parents decided they wouldn't take down the tree in her absence. It would remain in its place until Lauria returned. They couldn't imagine she wouldn't come back. It felt like an endless and painful wait. The second year passed and a new rumor began circulating, suggesting that Freeman had amassed a large sum of money to sue the person responsible for his son's death. Allegedly, he began using this money to sell drugs and cultivate marijuana. According to the rumors, Freeman owed a significant debt to a drug dealer and was killed, along with his wife, when their men came to collect the money and were not paid. The police dismissed this rumor, unconvinced that the crime was related to drug trafficking. Rather, they suspected it was a simple abduction of children after Freeman's murder. Ignoring the police's advice, Lauria's mother managed to contact a high-ranking figure in the local drug trade. He instructed her to reach out to Mexican drug dealers, as the mother was desperate to find her missing daughter and was willing to do anything. Despite her family's objections, Lauria decided to meet with them. She was warned that she might be killed and that her life would be at risk if she attempted to communicate with these people. She disregarded the warning and met with the man she sought, asking him directly about the crime. He assured her unequivocally that he does not harm women or children, which was convincing enough for her. New rumors have surfaced about the existence of photos, utilizing Lloyd technology, showing two restrained girls with masks on their faces, subjected to forced labor and held against their will. It's said that approximately 12 individuals have already seen these photos and described what they witnessed. After the news was broadcasted on television, calls flooded the police department from people reporting sightings of the girls in different states, which troubled the investigator Nate. Laura's parents, undeterred by the distance, embarked on the search for their missing daughter. Each call was a new thread they didn't want to cut but to follow, hoping it would lead them to Laura. The mother covered nearly 2,000 miles in search of her daughter, while the police delved into hundreds of reports and observations sent to them, until a new suspect emerged from the void, a notorious serial killer, alone in Pulaski, Texas, convicted and sentenced to death. He's the infamous serial killer Tommy Lynn Sells. Tommy's name is associated with 12 murders, and his transient lifestyle aided his escape from justice for nearly 15 years, leaving a trail of victims across the country. The investigators said, "Well, we have this suspect in prison, and he is saying that he did it. He killed Danny and Kathy Freeman and abducted the two girls." He appeared as if he knew a lot about the case, so much so that he offered to take investigator Nader to the location of Ashley and Lauria's bodies. The investigator doubted this prisoner's lies, but after 5 years with no progress in the case, he had nothing to lose. The police went with the suspect to the location he pointed them to, only to find nothing but animal bones. Later, it became clear that they belonged to an animal, not a human. Before withdrawing from the case, investigator Nader had one last task: to pursue another serial killer, Jeremy John, whose roots traced back to Oklahoma. Lauren was not convinced that Jeremy was responsible, as it seemed improbable for one person to kidnap two girls and burn down a house. Lauren was vindicated when the investigation proved Jeremy's claim of killing them to be false. After that, investigator Nader withdrew from the case as no new information surfaced, and the case became completely stagnant. In December 2009, the New Year tree still stood, awaiting Lauria's return, laden with a card and many wishes since her disappearance. Then, after a full 10 years, the tree fell, and the family began gradually accepting the reality that they might have been killed. In 2017, a new sheriff took over the investigation office in Gregg County. As they moved old evidence boxes, they stumbled upon one box unmarked and filled with files dating back to the end of 1999, the same period the girls disappeared. The new sheriff, Heath Winfrey, recently discovered evidence and documents overlooked and forgotten by the previous team. This revelation renewed hope of finding answers about what happened to Lauria and Ashley and where they are now. Tammy Ferrari, a new client at the Oklahoma State Investigations Office, has been tasked with searching through the evidence box. Tammy reported finding a clue in the evidence pointing to an insurance card for a car found in the debris of the burnt house. By tracing the owner of this card, the police were finally able to verify the authenticity of the crystalloid images, not only because the owner of this card recognized them, but also because she was a friend of David Bennington, one of 3 individuals who distributed those images. Investigation revealed that 2 out of the 3 individuals had died, leaving only one survivor, Ronnie Byers. People described him as extremely wicked, with many fearing him and his associates, who were part of a gang involved with Mexican drug traffickers. They were extremely dangerous individuals. Lauren learned that the 12 people who claimed to have seen the images were afraid of him. It wasn't easy to file a case against him with just one testimony. Fortunately, Lauren opened a page on social media and appeared on television urging these individuals to testify. Luckily, everyone came forward, mostly former friends or relatives of the three men, all remembering that they had taken pictures of the two girls who had been alive for several days after the abduction. On the day of Ronnie Bozek's release from prison, Detective Ferrari from Kansas was awaiting him with an arrest warrant from the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation. He was questioned and confessed, but he was eager to shift the blame onto his deceased accomplices. According to his account, the three went to Danny's house to collect a debt for illegal substances, but Danny resisted, leading to a rapid escalation resulting in the deaths of the couple and the hiding of the two girls. However, the girls were found, taken to another criminal's house, Phil Walsh's, where they were held and tortured for 2 weeks. In the end, they were killed and the bodies disposed of. After striking a deal with the police to reduce his sentence, Bozek was sentenced to 10 years, of which he served only 38 months in prison and was released for good behavior. Was the decision to strike a deal fair, dear viewers? Share your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to support us with likes and subscribe to the channel for more updates.